What's up friends? Today we are here with a brand new video on a brand new product in a format that we haven't done on this channel yet. Today we're going to be talking about a very exciting release from a popular company in the US called MBS Mountainboards. And today we're going to be talking about the brand new electric series, the Agent. Alrighty, so there are a lot of things that I want to cover in this video. I don't want it to get too long, so I'm sort of doing it in a live recording format with minimal editing. But I have a lot of things I want to cover and a lot of cool things that I want to point out on this brand new product. So, what is the Agent? Well, it is an electric mountain board, and MBS has a short little video here that we're just going to watch through quietly in the background while I point out some of the cool points. First off, I just want to point out the fact that I'm really happy to see MBS with their riders out here pushing things to the limits and testing it, even when it comes to electric mountain boards. Some of y'all will remember Apex boards based in the UK. They were an awesome company that has unfortunately succumbed to a lack of time and no longer sell their boards. But the Apex Predator was an awesome board, and their test riders put it through its paces, taking off huge jumps and doing all kinds of crazy stuff with it. And if this video is anything to go by, I know that MBS has put some serious testing into this board. And in fact, I have a little bit of, I guess you could call it insider information from Joel himself that he posted on the forum about their testing. So we've got a lot of really sick shots here, and if you don't know, MBS Mountainboarding is based out of Colorado, and I'm sure that these shots were taken locally for the most part because they've got a lot of awesome stuff to ride. And man, it is cool to see people ripping this stuff around. Honestly, they may make it look super easy, but ripping stuff around on dirt and staying put and not falling off is actually surprisingly hard. It takes a lot of skill to know just how much you can slide. And they're showing off a couple key features in this video, as well as what looks like pretty good durability, pretty high speed, and a really awesome set of new designs. I don't think any of this stuff on this board has been on the market yet, period, which is really cool. And we're going to talk about that today. So I'm going to sort of go through each component one at a time and discuss why I think each thing is cool, what I think about each thing, and how it might compare a little bit to sort of DIY options and why this could be an awesome thing for people just getting into the community. So first off, we're just going to go straight to the product page. Now, we've got some base specs here. Range up to 41 miles. Not sure about that one. We will have to see. And the only real way to get accurate ranges is to do a bunch of testing. So whoever gets this first will be the one that finds out if that range is true or not. Max speed of 41. Pretty impressive. And to help get to that speed, we have an 18S battery. Now, 18S battery is something that's been pretty common in DIY for a while, but there really aren't any production boards that are utilizing this 18S capability. And honestly, 18S is pretty big step up from anything else in the market right now. If you think about the other popular boards on the market, we've got 14S from Ace Deck, we've got 14S from Lawrence, we've got Mooney Eastgate, which he's not fully released yet, but I believe he's going to be 18S, which is actually going to be sort of a competitor to this board format. But there's not really anything out there that's 18S anymore. The LaCroix boards were 18S, but those weren't mountain boards, and those were BESC based. This, on the other hand, this is a Hobbywing board. And there's a number of reasons why I'm able to tell that, but 18S on Hobbywing is something that we haven't seen yet, and I'm super excited to see them branching out into higher power and higher voltage, because Hobbywing is great. Honestly, it's super reliable and easy to use. Now, starting off at the beginning here, we've got a couple different options for what you can buy. Your base one is going to be your Air version, which is what they're calling jumping. Still pretty dang heavy at 44 pounds. I think my mountain board, I want to say with my 12S 7P battery, is going to be around 38 pounds, something like that. But for my other boards, there are a couple that get up there into that higher range. Anyway, I was saying there are some other boards that get up there into that range. In fact, here's a fun data point for you. The Ace Nomad N3 is also 44 pounds, and the Atlas Pro two-wheel drive with gear drive and the aux pack is 60 pounds. So if you look at the comparison here, aux pack was a 12S 6P battery, and the gear drives on the Atlas Pro, well, the old ones anyway, are pretty heavy and beefy. So not super surprising that that comes in heavy, but that's sort of a little bit of a comparison. So this is like the Nomad N3. If you've ever picked it up, it's a beast of a board. I did a video on that. You should check that out if you haven't seen it yet. But it's very heavy, not the most portable thing in the world. However, 40 pounds, 44 pounds, this is sort of to be expected for mountain boards. They just tend to weigh more. I mean, even just the tires alone weigh more. Your big top mount battery, your deck is going to be heavier, because a lot of the time these have a couple layers of composite in them so that they can absorb the bumps and repeated stress for longer periods of time without breaking. And especially when you're jumping on these things, you need them to be able to absorb a lot of impacts and just last for a lot longer. So jumping version, we've done the math, we as in DIY community. This is an 18S 2P battery, and the Explorer and the Explorer 4-wheel drive are both an 18S 4P battery. So if you haven't ridden on high voltage, you might think that an 18S 2P is a tiny battery, which it kind of is, but it's still 36 cells. An 18S 4P is 72 cells. So if you compare that to the aux pack, which is 12S 6P, that's also 72 cells. So technically the watt hours is almost the same. It's just utilized differently. So one thing I'm really interested to see is how this Hobbywing ESC utilizes that smaller battery power and allows it to get potentially higher range than an equivalent Vest board would get. So I don't want to focus too much on these boring specs, but I wanted to go over that to get it out of the way. And also, elephant in the room, the prices are quite high. This is pretty much stomping on most other offerings out there in terms of premium. This is definitely a premium board, but not insane. I would say that these are comparable to what Apex was offering. However, theirs was a vest-based board back when it was available. I think we could actually go out and look up that price right now, but I don't want to waste time on that. It's not super important. You're going to be paying a lot to get this, and you could build one yourself for a lot less than this, but fact of the matter is, this is just going to be one and done. You can ride it the second it gets to you. You've got a really nice quick swap battery, you've got gear drives, you've got high quality motors, you've got 18S, and you got your high quality bindings, and hopefully a high quality deck. There's so many new things on this board, I could talk about this for hours, but like I said, I don't want to make this too incredibly long. Let's go through some of the features. So this is the base one, the Air version. We're going to have the Rockstar 2 hubs, which are a nylon glass fiber hub. The T3 tires, they're an 8-inch tire, not super wide. 6890 motors. You're going to find the same motors, gears, remote, Matrix 3 trucks, deck. All that's the same across across both versions. And then when we get to the bigger one, we've got the bigger battery, of course, and then we've also got Rockstar 2 Pro XLs, which is the bigger, wider wheels. We've got the bigger battery, and we've got these new gigantic tires, which are a Exway and CST collaboration. They're very premium tire. We can go look them up right now on the Exway site. I believe it needs to be the global site. And we go to accessories, Ace Lab. We can find the tires and the wheels that Exway offers here. You can see here, $89.99 for just 2 tires, $30 for 2 tubes. So that's what, $120 for 2, so $240. Is that right? 30, 60 plus 90, yeah. $150, $300. That's crazy. That's a lot of money for tires, but I've heard good things about them, and obviously you get a set on your board when you buy it. I'm interested to see how much MBS ends up selling them for. I'm sure that you'll be able to buy replacement parts for this board on their site, because MBS is well known for being a DIY friendly company and catering to their audience of dedicated fans. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is more specific stuff. So it looks like, so the base one has basic MBS F5 bindings. Been proven to be great bindings over years and years of use. Some people have had some issues with the ladder straps breaking recently, but for the most part they last for a long time and are very good. However, we've got new bindings on this board, which is the first for MBS in quite a while. I don't remember when the F5s were released, but it was a long time ago. So these bindings are super cool. And we're going to get into some of the more specific stuff here. So going back to the battery, we have a quick swap design, which is super, super cool. And it looks like when I was making my forum post, I went through each of the different little bits. And it looks like I missed this picture. We have a quick swap battery design here using this sort of cantilevered latch, which is super cool. And this will let you switch your pack in a couple seconds. Unplug it, clip it off. If you really want to, you can carry an extra battery in your backpack, and that is a super awesome function to have. My battery on my mountainboard is quick swap. I designed my own system, very different than this one, but I've had that running on my board for a long time, and it's super convenient, especially if I want to charge the battery. Except for on the board, I can just put it in the garage or bring it inside and charge it up separately from the board. Makes it pretty convenient. And so super stoked on the quick swap battery. Again, 2 battery options, 18S 2P, 18S 4P. I'm guessing that the depth maybe is different, or maybe the enclosure just isn't filled all the way. In any case, it looks very aux pack like, and pretty cool to see a quick swap system. Moving on to the rest of the powertrain, we have a Hobbywing ESC. The reason why I know this, well, besides the insider information, is that it has a Rexus Remote. If you've not used the Exway Rexus Remote, you'll be in for a treat with this one. It's an awesome remote, super comfortable in the hand, one of the best thumb wheels on any remote that I've used, period. And it has a really nice color screen with great information on it. However, the Rexus Remote only pairs to a Hobbywing ESC, which is why it has to be Hobbywing. Again, I'm super stoked to see Hobbywing going into 18S and opening up a whole new world of power. And what's interesting is that for Hobbywing, it's been a well-known thing over the years that Hobbywing seems to sip power a lot. It seems to sip a lot less power than a VESC power equivalent. And I don't know why that is. I'm guessing it's just because they're usually using less battery amps, but in any case, if you're able to use this 18S Hobbywing ESC and Rexus Remote in a DIY build, could it be a great alternative to VESC? I don't know. I think we're going to have to find out. But in my experience so far, Hobbywing has always been super smooth, super reliable, and easy to use. And from what Joel was saying on the forum, this new ESC is going to be able to detect other motors, which is just another super cool thing that usually you don't have available. So, powertrain, we've got that new Hobbywing ESC paired with 6890 motors. These do look sort of like DXW or Hobbywing motors. I'm not super sure, but they look super big and beefy. Hopefully they will be big enough to keep up with the heat generated from intense off-road sessions at high amperage. Paired with this powertrain is a steel-on-steel gear drive. Another incredible thing to see. Just because of having this gear drive in the first place, it means one thing: we have another steel-on-steel gear drive for Matrix 3 trucks. And Matrix 3 trucks are pretty good. If you like channel trucks, you'll like them. And from what we understand as the community right now, the base plate that the gear drive mounts to is actually a separate piece. So you could actually easily make your own mounts for these gear drives, or I say you, but it's the objective you. Somebody could make mounts for these gear drives, like, for example, if you wanted to mount them on dualities, which would be pretty sweet, you could totally do that with the right adapter. So yeah, super stoked about these gear drives. It's steel on steel, 15 to 64 gear ratio, pretty great ratio for 18S. There is a screw on here that looks sort of like a grease fill port. So I'll be interested to see what kind of grease they use in here and how well this is sealed. One of the issues I always have with gear drives is that the grease starts leaking out. You can't see it, but there's grease along the entire edge of my gear drives on my race board, and it gets everywhere if you accidentally touch it. So these steel gears, again, also, I don't know if I said this at the beginning, this is very clearly a collaboration with Exway, which is actually a great thing. Joel did confirm this in our forum, and I'll put some of this in. And basically he said, engineers at Exway are awesome, the team has been great and committed to development with MBS, and I'm super happy to see these two companies working together. I have been a supporter of Exway for quite a while now. I like their stuff. Their gear drives on their Atlas Pro, the first version from Ace, was great. Or they are great. They run well, they sound good, and they're pretty reliable. So, great to see MBS working with them. And I think I forgot to switch screens, but whatever. You can see the pictures now. The gear drives here, they have that fill port that I was talking about. Gear ratio is marked on them, and they look very Exway. They look like good stuff, and I'm stoked for them. The remote, again, Rexus Remote, great stuff, love it. Another picture of the battery here. Looks like we have a little battery indicator on top. I kind of wish that they went with more bars than just 4 for 18S, but you know, it gets the job done, and you'll have your battery indicator on your remote anyway, so probably not a huge deal. The case looks like it's pretty well built. If you felt the aux pack before, it is quite well built, big chunk of metal, but it is heavy, so that's definitely where part of the weight is coming from on this board. Now, I'm going to go over to my forum post because I have some other info here that I want to make sure I point out. Gear drives, we got those helical steel gear drives. They look pretty slim from the back, which is cool. Nice little picture of one of the MBS guys grinding it on a log. You can see here, this is the Air version with those Rockstar 2 base level hubs. Battery looks nice and tight on the enclosure, or on the deck. The deck is quite thick as well, as you probably would expect. If you're designing a deck to have additional weight on it on top of just the rider, you probably want to have it a little bit thicker. We got some foot pads on here along with the bindings. I'm curious if these foot pads are like foam or if I'm curious what these foot pads are actually, because I don't think I saw them before. You can see the battery cable there. It's pretty slim. If you look over at the picture of the deck, you can see these slots for the cables. Pretty slim. I don't think you're going to be able to get a full set of phase wires in there for some of the DIY people that like to run a single enclosure in the middle of the board rather than having separate ESC and battery. You probably aren't going to be able to fit them in there, but if you do a battery enclosure at the back, you should be good to go. Hard to say without seeing it in person or any kind of measurements of any sort. But yeah, got those big old tires. Again, Exway Collaboration, good stuff. The 18S batteries are quite expensive as well for what they are. 18S 2P for $800 is quite a bit, and 18S 4P for $1,400 is also quite a bit. But you do have to consider the fact that you get your unique quick swap design, you get your discharge port, you get your USB-C output, and you also get the presumably durable enclosure. So I don't know, it is a premium, but some people are definitely going to find that worth it. Any other information here that I didn't cover? Top mount, again, mountain boards, in my opinion, must be a top mount enclosure, and the main point of that is so that you have ground clearance and you can jump over things and bump into things without worrying about any of your batteries getting damaged. One interesting note here, the custom BMS in here, it is a charge and discharge. So I guess it's interesting that they're sort of pointing that out as a positive, because I know a lot of the Chinese boards do use discharge BMSs, but hopefully this one will be a good one. And I read somewhere that its max discharge current, I think it's marked on the battery, is 140 amps total. If you have the four-wheel drive one, that's 70 amps forward and 70 amps back. That's quite a bit, and I believe that means that the cells are most likely P42A cells. That matches up with the math for the watt hours, so P42As, 18S in there, and they've got that convenient USB-C charging cable. You can see the quick release system here. Pretty cool cantilever clip design. Clips on, clips off. Really sweet stuff. Will be interesting to see that in person one day. Matrix 3 trucks. CNC variant, 280 millimeters wide. You've got your MBS bushings, of course. Deck is a new deck, brand new deck to MBS. Reminds me a lot of the Haero Bro, but it's still very MBS in the shape of the ends. They tend to have wider ends on their decks, and some people like it, some don't. The new bindings are a really cool thing. It's basically a two-piece design, a big metal plate on the bottom that attaches to your deck with these slotted or I guess notched areas, and it looks like they have pretty great adjustability in terms of like the direction you turn your foot, and that is something that I found difficult to adjust on the original F5s, because you just have two screw points at the ends, and once you have them set, you don't really have much adjustability. But with this, it looks like you're going to be able to turn it maybe infinitely. It might be notched, probably is, but it's a lot more adjustment than you had before. However, these metal plates may make it a little more difficult to mount to some existing builds or decks, but I'm glad to see some innovation here, and I believe that mounting the ladder strap at this angle and without having the stress of it bending sideways will make it a lot more durable. A lot more like the attachment of a snowboard binding, I guess. Overall, pretty premium. Lots and lots and lots of cool stuff. And I'm absolutely stoked for the future of what this collaboration between Exway and MBS does. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to cover right now. I think I pretty much talked about everything that is pretty cool and all of the things I'm excited about. The main thing that I want to do to test this, which first of all, I am not affiliated with MBS at all. I wish I was because the company is great. I have no idea when/if I will ever get to test one of these. I really hope that I do before EskateCon next year. But I would love to get some performance numbers of this to compare it to all the other boards I've tested, get the P-spec, and compare an 18S Hobbywing to some of the numbers I got from my Vesk boards, including the 18S boards, because I mean, this is new worlds here, and I'm just stoked to see innovation in the scene. To be honest, jumping into the electric mountain board scene is definitely a risky move for MBS, so doing it in collaboration with a well-established electric parts maker is definitely smart. It's easy to fall on your face, and unfortunately that's what happened to Apex. They had their Predator series, that was awesome. In terms of other competitors, you're going to be looking at the Aztec Z3. That's definitely a competitor to this because that's also a real mountain board. You could be looking at the Meepo Tundra. I believe that has an underslung enclosure, but they also have a top mount, so I'm not sure if they're going to do an only top mount at some point, but that could be a competitor. You've got some offerings from other companies like Rowdy and EcoMobile. I don't think that they are really going to be competitive at all in terms of power. I think that this is going to really stir up the competition in this scene, and I'll be interested to see if any other companies follow suit into this mountain board genre. Probably not, because it's a pretty small market right now, but the one nice thing about electric mountain boarding is you can literally go anywhere, and to be honest, with my electric mountain board, my DIY one, I ride it on the street all the time. So what's good off-road is good on street in this case. But the other thing is there's no other US company really that's making a competitive mountain board. MBoards has a mountain board offering, but I don't think they sell very high numbers, and it's kind of not pushed as one of their main products. However, in the UK, you have Trampa, of course. Trampa is like an old-time OG of the mountain board game, and they're still making parts. I still think their website is horrible, and it's hard to navigate. The MBS website here is easy to navigate. It's beautiful. They have everything you need to get. And one thing that Joel, the MBS guy, promised is that they're going to sell all these parts piece part. It might take a little bit for them to get them listed, but they're going to have the gear drives for sale. They're going to have probably replacement ESC enclosures for sale. They're going to have the connectors for sale that you can connect to these motors. They might even sell the motors. And honestly, that's great stuff, because if you can DIY with this stuff, it just opens a whole world of possibilities. And to have someone in the States with local support and a bunch of riders from regular mountain boarding potentially supporting it, I think the sport could grow, and I'm just really excited to see it. So honestly, I've been talking for a long time now. Hopefully you found this video fun. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below, and give the video a like if you want me to do more of these first look sort of discussion videos. I feel like I have a lot of knowledge as a DIY person to compare and see if this is good value. So I guess my conclusions here: 1, I'm stoked to see MBS come out with an electric mountain board. 2, I hope it's successful. I think it will be, but time will tell, and the price is definitely premium. 3, the range. Not sure what we're gonna get on range for such a small battery, but it might impress with the Hobbywing speed controller. Very impressed with Hobbywing for coming out with 18S. I actually kind of want to make a DIY with it, to be honest. It just seems like a fun thing to do. And yeah, I wish the best to MBS, and I will talk to you guys next time. Stay safe, keep on riding, and peace out.